The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss living walls inside as well as growing those fall mums. Our guest is chicken expert Lisa Steele will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. The hour is full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Another week, another show. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to allow us to be part of it just for a small part of your day. I'm your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you're tuning in, whether you're doing that on one of the 20 AM and FM frequencies broadcasting our program here in 2023, through a radio app, through our parent website, which is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, podcast replay, or in-studio video replay. Thank you for capturing the program. If you want to be part of it, you can send us an email. Let us know where you're calling from, or where you're listening from, or got a question, send it on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we will get an answer to your question. You can also talk to us toll-free, coast-to-coast, at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Well, Holly, living walls, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about living walls outdoors. Now we're going to talk about living walls indoors. Very different transition, but it can be done in unique and fashionable ways.
Yeah, you can make a small living wall. You can do a larger living wall. It's a little bit different because
finances and size.
Right, finances, size, and also just to think about that living walls could be naturally damp in a way, so you have to be aware of where you're putting it and also how you're watering it, things like that. So what are the benefits is, one, it's decorative, to biodiversity, which basically means that it will increase kind of the plant life in your home and the plant diversity, the plant differences, etc. So maybe you grow like a bunch of smaller plants and because you have the space for it, because that you can put them vertical.
Yeah, living wall, you're fixating them onto a vertical structure and some type of means. Now, there is commercial grade indoor walls that have lights that cascade the lumens down upon the plants, and there's ones that you would put if you're in an area like a 3-season porch where you're going to get ample light. You just need the structure. So there's many different options when it comes to a living wall indoors, as well as the plants in which you can plant in it.
Right. So, yeah, so they're biodiverse. They can be kind of soundproofing, not necessarily soundproofing, but sound absorbing, because you're affixing plants and soil. So if you have maybe a room that's kind of echoey, it can help absorb some sound. And then it's air purifying. Plants are naturally purifying. So that's how it works. And another benefit is you can grow edible plants. And because you're growing it up, you have less footage. What's it called? Real estate.
Right.
That you're using. So first thing, you want to find the right space. You can put it basically anywhere, but you want to make sure that A, you can reach the plants, and B, that you're not allowing, like, say you chose a narrow hallway, you might be walking into those plants. Or if you have children or pets that could easily access the lower plants, you may want to keep that in mind and maybe put put a bit higher, whatever. So think about where you want to put it. If you are going for full sun plants, then you need full sun space.
Yes.
So, yeah. So that's
some of the non-edible plants in which you can grow could be ferns, palms, ivy, sphagnum moss. You can grow some of that. Spider plant, you can grow that. There's many different options in which it comes to a living wall versus, just having them on a mantle somewhere.
And the other thing to keep in mind is you can prune the plant. So if you're afraid, maybe you have a spider plant now and you're like, this thing's a little bit out of control, you can prune it back. Any of these plants.
And a lot of them that you prune back, you can propagate.
Right. You can do that too.
With the cuttings, yeah.
So you can have all of your walls, living walls.
If you really want to, yeah.
What?
Yeah, if you want to have all your walls, living walls, that's what you can do.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to find the right space. You want to prepare the surface. So you might want to put down an extra coat of paint. And then you want to consider some sort of drip tray system. So maybe use a drip tray system in the pots itself. Maybe you have an additional drip tray, decorative, put other plants below the living wall on the floor or on a small table, something like that.
You can do this automated. You can have it automated wettering. And remember, the amount of moisture these plants need is based on the plants in which you are growing. Certain plants require more of a moist environment. Other ones need more of a dry environment. Like you could have a whole living wall of herbs, mint, lemon balm, basil, chives, purslane, sage, thyme, cilantro. You could have all of those in a living wall. You could have an herb living wall. You can have an ornamental living wall. But it all depends on, one, how dry is your home. Also, that would dictate how much water is being evaporated out of the soil and how rapidly you need to hydrate the plants in which you're growing. So your mileage is going to vary. So we're just kind of giving you an umbrella knowledge of this, and you've kind of got to dig in deeper based on what you're wanting to do.
Most house plants only require watering once a week.
True.
Yeah. So,
but if you've got a real dry house in the winter, with that heat true. Based on fire heat, radiator heat, or furnace heat, that's a different type of heat and different type of removal of moisture from the soil.
That's a good point. You do have to think about that, especially some of these. If you bought like a living wall pre-made setup, those are smaller, usually smaller, like container type things. So you want to fix your vertical planters. There's lots of options for do-it-yourself, things you can purchase. Kind of think about the space, how you want to attach them to the wall. Do you want to have them hanging down from the ceiling? Do you want to just attach a general thing to the wall? Do you want something that's more of like on a stand? So there's some options there. And then you would choose your plants. Joey kind of touched on that. There's a lot of different options, whether it be herbs to houseplants to specific types of houseplants to maybe a combination. And just because you want to grow herbs doesn't mean you have to grow all the herbs. You can grow the ones that you know that you want to use.
Now, with living walls, again, we're looking at anything from however big you want it to be to a 4x4 or 2 foot wide by 3 foot high, 24 inches by 16 inches. You go online and search living wall for indoors, and you're going to have a vast variety of options and a vast variety of price points that you can choose from very simplistic to very elaborate, from anything that hangs on the wall to something that is in a base that can be pushed up to the wall and has lights incorporated into it. So there's many different options. And even if you are not, say, a gardener, and we know that people listen to this program who do not garden, and thank you very much for that. You can do this as a decorative or as a conversation piece as well. And even with maybe very little knowledge of what plants do or grow or how to maintain, you can be very successful at this with a few minutes on the thing called the World Wide Web. But be cautious with the information you're gathering. Make sure you have 2-3 yeses for every one no you find.
Right. You want to make sure you're using a reliable source.
Reach out to us.
Reach out to us. University extensions, even a lot of these like gardening magazine websites, they all have great information. So once you set up your living wall, you want to pot your plants, and then you want to put the plants into the pockets or the structure, whatever you want to call it. I personally would, if I was going to do living wall, especially indoors, I would get something that I can have individual removable. It's got the framework and the pot sets in each individual little slot. I would prefer that over something that's attached to like a canvas or something.
Yeah, where it's all coming down at once, or it's all or nothing.
Yeah, because I feel like that would just be easier for ease of access.
Well, if a plant dies, you can remove it. If you need to harvest it, you can physically take it out and remove it. It's easy to see what's going on and then slide it back in its little slot.
Right, you can check the roots, things like that. And with that being said, you can find houseplants that have shallow roots if you are concerned about the depth. But most houseplants don't really have a super strong root system. So
that's why they're houseplants.
Yeah. So I've noticed that when I've had houseplants or I had an office plant, and then when I started working from home, I brought it home, and I think it missed the office environment.
It was too bright.
I think it was too bright, like died. So yeah, and I've heard of other people saying that they brought their houseplant home and it didn't do so well. But anyway, so yeah, you want to pot the plants, and then Joy had mentioned irrigation, some sort of irrigation system. There's a lot of, you don't even have to invest in irrigation. There's a lot of creative ways to irrigate. I've seen people use like soda bottles, and I think it's fishing wire or string or something.
Yeah, it drips down.
Yeah, it drips down. So you can get creative. There's even like pretty little bulb looking things that you put water and you turn it over, and it's almost like an Oya, but it's a little bit prettier. You can spend all day at your independent garden center in the houseplant area and find all the, fun things, accessories or whatever you want to call them, odds and ends, thingamabobs, whatever.
Well, Walton's has more than thingamabobs and whatchamacallits. They have everything but the meat that you can imagine in order to get your processing done. They also have spices to season what you're cooking, whether you are cooking your meat or your vegetables.
Yeah, we are brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's. We know you care about where your food comes from. You might be canning and preserving, but now we're getting to the time of year where you might be thinking about some sort of other harvesting, the meat harvesting, and they have everything you need, equipment, seasoning, supplies. You can make sausage, jerky, any other meat product your way to your high standards. They also have a website called meatgistics.com. It's an informational website to help you make the best finished product. Walton's even has a full line of meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers, spices, all the good things. They can help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, GROW50 to save 10% off orders of $50 or more at waltonsinc.com.
When we come back, it's about growing and planting and maintaining your fall mums. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now, 1-800-927-SHOW.
Grip 6 produces American-made products with sleek designs and quality materials. Based and manufactured in Utah, they have high-quality and durable products that last a lifetime. They're built beyond tough. Their wool socks come from Rocky Mountain-sourced materials, are soft and comfortable, keep your feet warm and dry, and come with a lifetime guarantee. Even for the most sensitive toes, these socks are made for everyone. High-quality wool socks make a huge difference for happy feet. They fit in with all the many things you do from around the house to the outdoors and beyond. They are comfortable and long-lasting. These socks are great for gardening because they keep your feet so comfortable no matter the conditions outside. It's hard to overstate how amazing these feel to have warm, dry feet as you work in your garden. Designed and manufactured in-house for the best results and quality every time. When you purchase from Grip 6, you're supporting long life cycle products and American-made manufacturing. Check out their belts, wallets, and socks at grip6.com. Use coupon code RADIO15 to save 15% off your order at grip6.com. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 10TG23 to receive 10% off your order at jungseeds.com. Again, that coupon code is 10TG23. Wisconsin Greenhouse Company has custom-made greenhouses to suit your needs. Grow year-round. Strongest greenhouses that will last a lifetime. From agricultural to lounging to entertaining. For more information, go to WisconsinGreenhouseCompany.com.
Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com. When a family of fruit flies accompanies the fresh fruits and vegetables from your garden, you need rescue fruit fly traps. Rescue fruit fly traps use a food-grade lure that fruit flies can't resist, and thanks to their no-tip design, you won't have to worry about spills on your kitchen counters. Get rid of fruit flies fast with Rescue fruit fly traps. Made in the USA by the makers of the popular Rescue fly and yellow jacket traps. Learn more at rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Dripworks, Rise Gardens, Grip 6, Bloomin' Easy, Fleet Farm, Waltons Incorporated, Blue Ribbon Organics, Tree Diaper. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy you are part of the program today. Mums, the fall mums, moments away, but first, Farm Defense.
Farm and garden in the ultimate comfort. Farmer's Defense has lightweight and durable sleeves made to protect you against the elements. While farming, Farmer Sleeves offers unparalleled protection of arms and skin for any farmer, gardener, or outdoor worker. Say goodbye to irritated skin and sunburns in the garden. Their sleeves offer cooling comfort and protection against the elements outdoors. An alternative to thick clothing, Farmer's Defense is made of wicking material with UBF protection factor of 50 plus to protect you from allergens and scratches. To find all their great products and more, visit farmersdefense.com. So, mums,
Yes.
they're very popular.
The plant, not the European version
No.
of a parent.
And I feel like, I don't know if
That was
it's-
not funny, I guess.
No.
Okay.
I feel like I keep seeing them more and more in outside of the stores. So I don't know if they're becoming more popular or I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would personally go to my local garden center to buy my mom's than outside of the old, wobbly hog or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But whatever works for you.
Well, perennial mums, if well taken care of, can bloom yearly.
Yeah.
Potted, harsh variety can withstand the winter months. To prevent your plants, to preserve your plants, move them indoors in a cool, frost-free environment, if possible, like a garage, if they're in a container. So let's start with that. We've got a bunch of different options when it comes to mums.
Right. So you want to just determine when to plant or when to, I guess you want to determine what kind of mum you want. Do you want just a once a year mum that you go and purchase?
One and done? Yeah.
One and done. Do you want something
Which
that's perennial?
I think most people, that's what what happens. It's like
Yeah.
Mother Day flowers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they want them sometimes for their like Halloween or
Their
fall
festival decor.
decorations. Yeah. They don't want the commitment of a mum in their garden because they want
It's
it
not
in
a
certain-
child.
It's not.
Yeah.
They don't want it there. They want it on their porch.
There's a
next to their-
purpose and a means, and when it's over with, they're done with it.
Yeah, next to their gourds and their pumpkins and their corn stalks and
Right.
whatever else, their little cornucopia situation. Yeah, which is totally fair. But say you're like, hey, you know what, this mum is really pretty and I really like it. You can plant that mum, and it will grow.
It will grow, and it can be grown year round, or it can survive year round. Your mums can stay in the ground if you want them to. If you're going to plant them in the ground, provided you give them plenty of mulch after the first frost. Cut them back, give them a lot of mulch, and just be sure to cut off the dead stems and bury them in mulch shortly after the first frost, and that will preserve most of them, based on your variety.
Right. Yeah. That's based on the variety. And then you want to make sure they're in full sun. Now, if you get them just for your porch or something, that might
Yeah,
not
if
be
you're just going to
possible.
use them for a certain
Right.
time, it really minimum. This doesn't apply.
Yeah. Now, they do have a shallow root system, so you want to make sure you are watering them frequently, and this will help keep them looking good for longer, and those colors will pop. And then even pruning them when the individual flowers, I think they look kind of bushy to me, but when the individual flowers start to look kind of sad, you can go ahead and prune them a little bit, and that will help brighten up the whole bunch, and that's helpful too. If you are going to plant them, you want to mulch around them. And that's helpful. I mean, you could mulch the ones in the pots too. That's an option as well, but most people aren't going to do that.
No. So, there's why a mum? What's special about a mum? It's the uniqueness. It's the flower. It's kind of the decor. It's the tradition that falls here. That's what we do. We get mums. There's multiple different varieties, like 13 plus different varieties of mums you can choose from. Now, based on your region, you're going to have the mums that are more fitted for your particular climate. You're not going to have them, it's like you're not going to have the big box stores may be slightly different, but your independent garden center is going to have stuff that will work in your yard. They're not going to have something, if you're in North Dakota, they're not going to have something that grows great in San Diego. It's not going to work.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't. That would not be good. So there's lots of options for the mums and the colors. And, I think that it makes sense to get them from the store and then create a fall scene. But maybe you're like curious about planting them and you want to do that. You can do that in the fall. So you do it before what would hopefully be your first freeze. And what you do is you plant them a couple weeks before, and then you would make sure that you have them well watered in and get them a little bit well established. And then once they're a little bit well established, you can prune them back.
We're talking about from seed type of thing.
No, if you just plant the one from the store.
Okay, plant the one from the store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just clarifying there because I got confused on the how to there.
And then once spring comes along.
Yes.
And you can mulch over them. When spring comes along, you want to actually fertilize them. And you can use like a high phosphorus fertilizer because they have those naturally shallow roots, and that will help with the root growth. Now
let's talk about the lasting of the bloom. Everybody wants blooms to last longer. So how do we do this? They need 6 hours of sunlight or more a day and to get as much heat and sun as possible in order to get those blooms in order to produce. Once the blooms have ran their course, then you can deadhead them to get them off so they don't look cluttered with the rest of the bouquet of flowering heads on your mum plant. So you want to keep that in perspective. You want as much heat, sun, and deadhead to keep the plant going and moisture as possible. If you're in a smaller container and you feel that you need to up pot, then you should do that if you're going to have them last as long as possible if you're not going to put them in the ground.
Yeah, definitely. You want to get them repotted, or maybe you have a planter area already that you put them in. Just make sure that when you do replant them that you're putting them in somewhat fresh soil, you're loosening the roots, and you're planting them not too deep, just kind of right where they're planted in the original container you got them.
Now, what we're saying about they love the heat, they like that sunlight, but keep your mums cool for long-lasting blooms. While the mums, though, want 6 hours of sunlight, you want to be cautious about the heat. I mean, if it's like 90 degrees, that you want to keep them in the shade. Shortening their bloom cycle. If the days are still 75 degrees or warmer, put your plants in a place that will receive partial shade. Prolonging the potted mums for heat stress will keep them from blooming longer. So there's a balance there. You want moderate sunlight, warmth, but we can get sun and be 60 degrees outside and it'd be very comfortable. And that's what these mums are looking for. Anything above 75 degrees in most areas, they're not going to be happy. That's why it's a fall plant. It's not a summer or spring plant.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You do want to make sure that you look for plants that, so, when we talk about picking vegetable plants, you don't want to pick vegetable plants that have showy flowers on them. With mums, you want to buy the showy ones.
The ones that are already out, ready, already displaying what they have available.
Yes. The money mums.
The money, yeah, okay. So, pest and diseases. Though it's fall, we still have problems with pest and disease.
Yes.
So we can get leaf spot, we can get powdery mildew, and viruses that cause problems on these plants. The best treatment of prevention is don't crowd your plants. Give them a lot of air circulation. They're not a shrub. You're not going to get 14 in a little area. More is not better in this in this particular situation. Give them plenty of air, plenty of sun, and moisture remains on the leaves to create that breeding ground for the disease. You want to make sure, just like your vegetables, they have air circulation and that they can dry off so they don't develop these disease problems that some people find and have because they think if 4 is good, 8's better. We'll really make this flower bed look really good. Well, what you've created is you might as well just put a tarp over top of them and make a sauna.
You're like choking them out.
Choking them out, yeah.
What you can do, no matter what kind of mums you buy, if you buy them just for the look or if you buy them to plant to become a perennial, you can separate them because they have those shallow roots. They do separate very easily.
Separate or divide.
Yeah. So divide them up. So if you are like, hey, I like, this combination of yellow and orange and red, and I want to put like 3 here and 3 here and da-da-da-da, you can do that very easily.
Now, rabbits and deer usually don't eat the mums, so that's good for you if you have that problem. Fuzzy leaves and blooms. They much prefer other plants in your garden, but you can use Deer Defeat at deerdefeat.com and prevent all of those problems using coupon code RADIO to save 10% on your order. So that's a good thing that you don't have that problem of animals getting to those particular plants. So mums, have you ever grown them before? This might be the year to do such. Go to your independent garden center, find what they have available, ask questions. That's why we're telling you to go independent garden center, because big box stores, they don't know anything. The independent garden center, they care about what you buy, and a good independent garden center will prevent you from buying plants that won't work for your area, your backyard, even though you may want to. They would rather not make the sale than make the sale and you have a dead plant in a couple of weeks because you put it in a place that wasn't happy.
Well, yeah, definitely. So you want to, I think some of the big box stores do have some sort of plant guarantee, but the independent garden centers actually do care more. Their plant guarantee at the big box stores is more about,
turnover.
Corporate turnover than anything else. But anyway, I digress.
Well, then big box stores at the end of, and we've seen this online, these big box stores at a certain time period, they take all the garden plants, dump them in a dumpster, even though they're perfectly fine because the time's up. They're moving on to the next thing and put on the shelf.
I saw it with my own eyes when I worked for that one company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yes, and they can't sell them discounted. They just
because they lose too much. It's too much money to sell them discounted because they're so thin profit margins. We might talk about that. How these things, how a pineapple's 99 cents when it takes 24 months to grow and it flies in 3,000 miles. But anyway,
and a tomato plant is $3.99.
Yeah. Summer is over, Holly. Kids are back in school. Nights are getting colder, and the yard has been forgotten. And you shouldn't have done that. And here's why.
Just because it's fall, we don't want to forget about our yards and the Japanese beetles either. They may be gone, but they're not far. Not only did they feast on your roses and berries this summer, they laid eggs on your turf so that they can start again next year. Take a stand with Phylum Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT granule that specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae. Simply apply the granule with a spreader, irrigate into the soil, and let the naturally occurring bacteria do its job.
Not only is Grub Gone easy to use, but it's the only non-chemical choice that is effective to control grubs. And the best part about it, it's non-toxic to bees and other pollinators, so you don't have to worry about toxifying their hives and killing them off when you apply it. It has 0 label restrictions to use around flowering plants and other beneficial plants that the insects are going to need to be using. Grub Gone from grubgone.com and or phyllumbioproducts.com. The natural choice. Hang out with us. Chicken expert and author Lisa Steele will be with us talking about chickens and what you should be doing next year right now if you want chickens. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Need a new mattress? Choose Furlow over the other leading brands and save big, really big. Because hey, nobody ever slept better for paying thousands more for basically the same mattress. Plus, with Furlow mattress, you also get our exclusive lifetime comfort guarantee. Good for as long as you own your mattress. Comfort to comfort, dollars to dollars. Compare Furlow to the others and it's obvious. You get more bed for your buck. Wake up. Sleep better. Furlow.
Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardeners, farms, landscaping, and more. To find our products nearest you, visit blueribbonorganics.com.
Goodbye, biting bugs and plant invaders. No More Bugs by Naturally Green Products is your answer. A product pioneered by the USDA in 14 years in business, No More Bugs has been a favorite by consumers across the country. More than a repellent, it is safe for you, your plants, pets, and home. Visit nomorebugs.net. Free shipping on orders over $50. Use code FREESHIP4ME.
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you the harvest you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com and use coupon code RADIO23 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com.
Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
Worried about watering too much or too little? Tree Diaper technology is the best way to stabilize your soil moisture in your garden, trees, or houseplants. Use coupon code GARDEN15 to save 15% off at treediaper.com. The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Chapin Manufacturing Incorporated, Aqua-Mart, Soil Savvy, Wind River Chimes, Wisconsin Greenhouse Company, Pro Plugger, Deer Defeat, Dripping Springs Oyas, Phylum Bioproducts. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Moments away, chicken expert Lisa Steele will be with us. But first, Rise Gardens.
Rise Gardens is a revolutionary hydroponic gardening system for your home. Instead of food traveling hundreds or even over 1,000 miles before it hits your plate, harvest the veggies, herbs, and greens you need for dinner tonight in the comfort of your home. No green thumb required knowledge. Gardening made easy with the Rise Gardens app. Step-by-step guidance from seed to harvest. A complete garden on a shelf and comes with everything you need to grow healthy and the freshest food for you and your loved ones. Fully customize your garden to your needs and preferences. For more information and get your garden, visit Rise Garden. Visit risegardens.com.
Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Lisa Steele is a fifth-generation chicken keeper and egg expert, well recognized as the creative force behind Fresh Eggs Daily, the most popular destination for natural poultry keeping advice on the internet, and one of the most influential players in the backyard chicken keeping community. Dubbed Queen of the Coop by the media, Lisa has been dishing out advice on raising chickens, ducks, and geese naturally via her blog and social media platform, Fresh Eggs Daily, for more than a decade. Welcome to the program, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, let's see if you can offer some advice to us and our listeners, and we thank you for the time you're going to give us here. What are 3 things people should be doing now in the fall if their goal is to get chickens in the spring?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously with any animal, it should not be just kind of on a whim or, a snap judgment. So
which some people do that. They think, oh, this is cute, and they take it home and they got a mess on their hands.
They do. And, the chicks are cute. And in the spring, it's hard to see them and not bring them home. So now is the time to be researching different breeds, talking to other people who have chickens maybe in your area, finding some of the challenges that they've been facing climate-wise and, predator-wise, just basically doing a lot of research, taking the time to know exactly what you're getting into because they are live animals and, they don't take a ton of time, but it's a commitment. I don't know if that was 3 things, but
that's fine. And that's the thing, with anything, whether you're buying a car, buying land, buying a house, you want to talk to people who's already done it so you don't make the mistakes that they did. And the same thing with chickens. And the thing is, you speak about different breeds. One size doesn't fit all. There's some that can tolerate heat better and cold better than others. And there's a whole gamut of things that it's just not, oh, that's cute, let's bring it home. It's not a puppy. This is, it's a big thing.
Exactly. And people get chickens for different reasons. Some people don't care what color eggs they lay. Other people, definitely want a chicken that lays blue eggs. But you're right. The climate is really probably the most important thing. And more so if you're in the South. for those of us in the cold climates, pretty much any chicken is going to do fine. But if you live in a warm climate, it's really important to look at some of the heat tolerant breeds, because chickens do not handle heat very well at all.
Now, is it true that the chickens, when it's cold, they'll decrease in egg production? Is it the same when it's extremely hot, that they'll shut down too?
Well, it is, but it's really the shorter days that slow the production down, because they need about 14 to 16 hours of daylight to stimulate their ovary to release an egg yolk, which then becomes the egg. So if they're not getting that daylight, they're not laying eggs. But yes, extreme cold, extreme heat, stress. If it rains that day, I mean, there's a lot of things that make a chicken not lay an egg.
And that's why we see some videos and pictures of the coop being extremely bright. Is that the mimicking of the sun to get that production in sync and keep making eggs?
Yes. Some people do light their coops through the winter to force the chickens to lay. It's what the commercial hen houses do. Obviously, they're running a business. They need the chickens to lay year round, so they add artificial light. Correct.
Oh, that's really interesting. So what are 2 reasons why you would recommend people raising chickens, and 2 reasons why perhaps they should not raise chickens?
Obviously, eggs. Number one reason, they're fresh. You know where they come from. You know what the chickens are eating that are laying those eggs. You know that chickens are happy. There's all kinds of reasons to really love fresh eggs. But in addition to that, chickens just make really good pets. I think people are surprised how friendly they are, how social they are. And for a lot of people, they're a lot more manageable than even a dog, say, because they're just, smaller for older people or, kids, maybe not as intimidating. As reasons not to get chickens, it's really hard because I'm so pro-chicken.
Right.
But I would say, if you're not willing to make the commitment, you can't just up and leave. I mean, you can, but it takes some prior thought. You can't just go away for the week or the weekend or, think that you're just going to have them for a year or two. Chickens can live for 10 or 12 years. So if you don't have the plan for them, well past their laying age, then maybe it's something that you shouldn't do, and you should just find a neighbor or a farmer's market to buy your eggs at.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If you're going to expect to get chickens and you've done the research you need to do, you got to have at least 2, because you just can't have one, because they need that companionship. Otherwise, they can literally get depressed and not produce eggs. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, they're flock animals. It makes me sad when I see someone on social media that has, just a duck that's following their child around, or a chicken that lives in the house and watches television, with their kids. I mean, they're flock animals. 2 at a bare minimum, I would say even better 3. 5 is even better, because, stuff happens and
right.
You don't want to, just have 2 and one happens to when you lose one and now you've got 1 chicken, so yeah, 5 or 6, I think, is a really good starter flock size and no more difficult to care for than 1.
No,
so it's really not that much more of a burden.
Now, I grew up on a livestock farm, cattle and hogs. We didn't, that was a business. We didn't name animals. Do you name your chickens?
Well, yes, because otherwise they wouldn't know which one I was talking to.
Okay.
You have to name your chickens.
Okay, I did not know. We did not have chickens, so that was not.
But you can get a chicken for your chicken and then get a chicken for that chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't eat them. We eat their eggs, but they're pets, first and foremost.
Right. And there's a certain time frame in which their egg production either it declines or stops altogether. Let's talk about that aspect of it. What happens then? What do you do in that realm of, okay, this chicken's old, and what do we do?
Yeah, I keep feeding them and talking to them, and they'll still eat bugs. They eat a lot of ticks. They produce a lot of manure. The older hens make great moms. They're not as active, so they'll sit on a nest for 3 weeks and hatch out baby chicks for you. Older hens really have a great place in the flock. They only lay for 2 or 3 years well, and then they start to decline in production, but yeah, they're still great additions to any flock. And they don't eat that much.
And I ask you that because in the livestock and the world I grew up in, once the animal could no longer produce, it was moved on down the road, and we brought another animal in because it was a business. We had to make things happen.
Of course.
Okay.
And for people who have a small yard, or you can only have 5 chickens, your choices might be a little bit different. We are not limited as to how many chickens we can have. We have tons of space. So I let them live out their life. They usually live to be 9 or 10 years old. But, they live a happy life, and then they just, go in their sleep one night peacefully. So, yeah,
that's really nice.
Yeah.
So you tell us about your newest book. It's called The Fresh Eggs Daily Cookbook. What can our listeners expect? I mean, besides recipes, what else is some good information in there?
Yeah, this was a really fun book to write because it was different. I had written a whole bunch of books on raising chickens, and writing a cookbook was something new and exciting, and I thought it would appeal to not just people who have chickens, but really anybody who eats eggs. There's a great kind of little mini memoir in the beginning. A lot of people say, how did you start doing this? And, what was your background? So there's that. And then just a whole bunch of basic egg stuff, like how should you store eggs? Do you need to wash them? Do they need to be refrigerated? Do the different colors taste different? Just kind of all the egg trivia that maybe the average person doesn't know.
Well, I'll throw one out at you. When people go buy eggs from their local supermarket, those eggs are not very fresh, are they?
Correct. Yeah.
What are we looking at? 60, 90 days since the time, give or take?
Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes just for fun, I'll go to the grocery store and I'll check because there's a code on the end of the carton so you can tell when those eggs are put in the carton.
Okay.
And very often 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and they were probably laid a few days before they were put in the carton, and then you buy them, you bring them home, they're in your fridge for 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, the weeks start to add up. Eggs do last a really long time, and they don't necessarily lose a lot of nutrition, but they lose quality. Mm-hmm. So they lose a lot of moisture. The membranes kind of get a little bit thinner, so if you crack the egg into a pan, it's going to spread out more, whereas a fresh egg will just kind of hold together. So you do lose a lot of egg quality as the egg ages. And also bacteria. If there is any bacteria in that egg, it's going to multiply as the egg gets older, so there's more chance of, salmonella or things like that.
Well, it's not very appealing to pick up an egg that has been in the fridge and it sounds like very wet Jell-O inside of it. That's usually not a good sign that, this is going to be a wonderful omelet we're going to have here. It's
right.
Not very good.
So how can people use chicken manure now for fall in their gardens, or for their fall gardens?
Right. Yeah. So I do a good coop cleaning at the end of the summer because I want the coop to be nice and, fresh bedding and everything for the winter. That straw and manure and feathers and everything, I put it right over my garlic. Garlic, really loves a lot of nutrients, and the garlic is going to sit there all winter doing its thing. We don't pull that till probably July. And then rhubarb. Also a very heavy feeder, so I mulch my rhubarb. You can mulch your berry bushes. Pretty much anything that you want to overwinter, you can use that mulch, which is basically decomposed chicken manure. You don't want to put it on your garden in the spring because it's hot. It's going to burn your plants. It's got a very high nitrogen level, so you don't want to clean your coop out in the spring and throw the manure right on your garden. So you want to compost it. But using it in the fall, because you're not going to be harvesting anything for 6 months at least, it gives the manure time to age, everything to decompose more. The pathogens die. It's just a great fall over winter type mulch to use.
Well, how frequently do you advise people to clean their coop? I know there's some variables, how many chickens and all this stuff, but is there kind of a guideline? Do it this many times a
year? When it smells. Okay. I mean, I don't do it very often. I encourage my chickens to be outside all day, so they're really only inside to sleep and lay eggs. So if that's the case, it doesn't really get dirty very fast. So yeah, it's as needed. Your nose will tell you if you even a hint of ammonia, it's time to clean that coop. Some people probably clean it weekly, I'm sure. But actually it's kind of beneficial, especially in the winter, to leave some of that coop litter because beneficial microbes develop And there's actually studies been done that it's actually beneficial to almost compost inside your coop for the winter. Compost, it creates heat. Yeah. Exactly. It creates heat, and it's actually beneficial. So that's a method, the deep litter method, that I have used for years, and it's wonderful. It saves time, it saves energy, saves money, and it actually is beneficial.
Now, in your neck of the woods, I know it's going to vary in different areas, but what are some of the biggest predators that you have to be conscious of that could go after your chickens at any given time?
I mean, coyotes and fox and, things like that. But honestly, what terrifies me is weasels. The big predators are kind of easy to keep out. Mm-hmm. It's the small ones that are going to get in through the tiniest little hole, and a weasel will kill all your chickens. I mean, they just kind of kill for sport. But we've got everything. We've got fisher cats. We have owls and eagles and neighbors' dogs and raccoons. And I mean, pretty much anything that walks or flies will kill your chickens if given the chance.
That's
unfortunately.
Yeah, that's is unfortunate. So are there any specific crops that you grow for your flock?
Yeah, I do grow a lot of garlic for them because I add that to their water. It's great for their immune systems and their respiratory systems. I grow a ton of herbs. The chickens have their own herb garden. They can go in and nibble and munch and take dust baths, so they've got lavender and rosemary and basil and parsley and oregano, and they just really seem to enjoy that. And then, of course, I give them, all our kitchen scraps pretty much. And then, anything from the garden that, is half bug eaten, or when you've got too many zucchinis. I mean, chickens will eat almost anything. There's very little that they shouldn't eat. So pretty much anything in the garden is going to be fair game. All your squash and pumpkins and, peas and beans, pretty much anything.
So I'm curious with, Halloween coming soon, many people are taking their pumpkins or taking a pumpkin, and then they're kind of allowing their chickens to peck a jack-o'-lantern. Have you tried that?
I have not. I have seen that. I have to say I'm not very up on the latest trends, so I usually don't see them until months later. But I thought it would be kind of fun to try this year to see if that would work, because they do love pumpkin. I mean, if you leave them a pumpkin, they will eat the entire thing. So it's kind of a fun activity for them.
Yeah. If we'll have to watch your Instagram. Maybe you'll post it if you decide to do it. Great.
Now the pressure is on.
No pressure. Just hopefully if you do, you do post it. So
of course, I post everything.
So speaking of Instagram, how do our listeners know how to find you and all of your great information and all of your fun chicken posts?
Yeah, absolutely. Super easy. At Fresh Eggs Daily on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube. My blog is fresheggsdaily.com. So basically, if you just type in Fresh Eggs Daily, I'll pop up.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for the time and the very knowledgeable level of information you provided us in this short period of time. Thank you so much for that, and we appreciate it very much.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And when we come back, it's Your Garden Questions, Our Garden Answers. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Head into Fleet Farm, where you'll find everything you need. From tires to tree stands, drills to dog food, toys to tools, they've got it all. You can save even more at Fleet Farm when you join the Fleet Rewards loyalty program. You get exclusive offers, and it's free to sign up. Get everything you need at a low fleet price. Shop in store or online today at Fleet Farm. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Tree Hugger sprinklers are the ultimate watering device for either your newly planted or established trees and shrubs. Our sprinklers open and close around the trunk of your tree and provide 360 degrees of watering. With our adjustable valve, you can direct the water to your tree's targeted saturation zone. They come in 3 sizes, 7, 11, and 15 inches. You can purchase a Tree Hugger sprinkler at your local garden center, feed store, or hardware store. Go to treehuggersprinklers.com to find a retailer close to you. Or you can buy it directly from Amazon or treehuggersprinklers.com. If you're an independent nursery, garden center, hardware store, or feed store, you will want to stock this product. Contact the good people at Tree Hugger Sprinklers and they will get you set up. Your tree's best friend. treehuggersprinklers.com.
Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at dripworks.com.
The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Happy Leaf LED, Root Maker, Jung Seeds, Tree Hugger Sprinklers, Verlo Mattresses, Farmer's Defense, Pomona Universal Pectin, Natural Green Products, Mantis Tillers. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today. It's time for your garden questions, our garden answers. Hey, if you've got a question, send it on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can certainly do that by giving us a dial at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's toll-free coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. You can either have a question or call and tell us, say hi, and let us know where you're listening from. We appreciate either one of those options. This question is sponsored by Fleet Farm and fleetfarm.com.
I have saved many pounds of green tomatoes before the frost killed my plants. What are some options or things I can do with all of these green tomatoes?
Okay. Well, there is some options. It's not as wonderful as you may hoped it to be. You can make green salsa, fried green tomatoes, green tomato, what is that, Freddas?
Fried green tomatoes? No. Frittata?
Frittatas.
Yeah.
Add them to salad. You can grill them as a side. You can get them to ripen, but it's not going to be like fresh vine wrapping. You can wrap them in newspaper. You can put them in a box. You can, throw a banana in there? Is that what that is? With the methane gas. Yeah. But it's not going to be the same as it was. But you're going to have a ripe tomato.
Right.
It may be just a notch above store-bought.
Personally, I don't like green tomatoes, or a lot of them. I would just let them try to ripen as best as possible. And then, if it's going to freeze and frost, it's going to die anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So you're going to have to harvest. And we did that a number of years ago. We pulled a lot off of the vine and brought it inside. So again, you can do green salsa. That's a water bath procedure, correct? Yeah, it's a water bath. You just add, there's lots of recipes that you can find online. You just have to add the acid.
Can you freeze? You can't really freeze these, could you? There's not really a point.
They're just going to end up mushy. Yeah, you might as well try to ripen them or do something with them. We did do, I think, like a green and red tomato salsa once. That was okay. So if you can combine them with something, if you don't like them as is, that's probably best.
All right. Next question here, Holly. I was at the store and saw some dark green peppers, but they looked like large jalapenos, but not labeled. Any idea what they were?
Yeah. So from what I understand, they're probably poblanos. And poblanos are not as spicy as...
There's some heat to them.
There's some heat to them, but they're not... So they're probably, I think, about the same as jalapenos on the spice level, but I think they're richer in flavor. They're not something I've had a lot of, but typically at most stores, if they have jalapenos and then they have other peppers besides like sweet peppers and they're green, dark green, and they look like larger jalapenos, they're usually poblanos. I can't imagine.
They've got some ribs in them. Some defined... sections, and it's not just smooth like a jalapeno, but has kind of the same characteristics.
Right. But they have like the more, I guess, pointier kind of end, as opposed to like a round or bell pepper or
Right.
something, or like a habanero.
Sometimes I only need half of the garlic. How do I store the other part for best longevity?
The clove. So this is for
Clove,
the clove.
yes.
So not the bulb, but the clove itself. So
After
say
you've opened it up and you need 3, there's 7 there.
No. The question that came in is about the clove itself, not the bulb, the clove.
Uh-huh.
So, like, say you cut a clove in half and you
Okay.
have that open clove.
Okay.
You want to just store it in the fridge in a container or like a little plastic baggie or some cling wrap, whatever, and then you want to use it within 3 days.
Well, it will emit the garlic flavor throughout the refrigerator, will it not?
If you put it in a plastic container, it really shouldn't too much. If you are going to use it within...
We had those onions that morphed through plastic that I had cut up.
Oh, it was really strong.
Yeah, they were strong.
Yeah.
When you cry and you're cutting onions outside, those are some good onions.
So the person that asked this question
Yes.
is a friend of mine. They actually ended up using the garlic later that day. So I don't know. And this was garlic that we gave them.
Okay.
So I don't know if they would have put it in the fridge if something would have been different. But
And you say that because fresh garlic or homegrown garlic has a much stronger aroma than store-bought garlic in
Right.
any capacity you want to go down.
right.
Yeah. Okay, we had a question here from South Dakota. She listens to us on WNAX 570 out of Yankton.
Do you want me to read the
Yes,
question?
go ahead
Oh.
and read the question.
Okay. So I enjoy your show on WNAX. I grow flowers for special events and we farm conventional corn and soybeans. We are surrounded by fields. The corn borer beetle are destroying everything, and I mean everything. It's so bad. I've had this problem the past 3 years. Dahlias, especially cosmos, zinnias, sunflowers, anything they can chew on, it's wrecked within a day. This dry year is very bad. I know other flower farmers in the area, and they seem to have nice dahlias. I'm not sure if it's the corn, beans that are surrounded. I've tried to use, I don't want to use chemicals, but if I don't have to, I will. Do you have any suggestions? I, do these dahlias for wedding work. I have them bagged, but it's just not feasible to bag them all. Let me know. So basically, it's, that's very frustrating, obviously, and that's a problem. The corn borer can be very aggressive pest. You can use BT.
Which is a natural occurring bacteria that either is in powder or liquid form that will destroy these insects. However, it has to contact them, or they have to ingest it in order for it to be effectively to cause them a demise.
Right. Yep. So there's many different ways to apply the BT. There's granule, there's a spray, but either way, you have to be kind of aggressive with it. And unfortunately, the pest can become
Immune
to the BT. But typically, I found this article to help out Rhonda, that was a bit more scientific, and it talks about how once you eradicate them with the BT, they typically don't come back. Another thing would be, I don't know how much space she has on her farm, but to move those flowering plants far away from the corn as possible.
Right. Oftentimes in an agricultural environment such as a farm, the crops surround the residence and the garden in which you are growing. I'm not saying that the garden is right next to the corn, but it might be within a 50-yard or 50 feet radius of said garden. That's where the agricultural crops are being grown, and the limitations of moving it is next to none. So a chemical or a non-chemical, effective, organic means of control, either aggressively or moderate aggressive, may be the only option you have. And some years, as we've seen in gardens, are better than others. And some years are like what she's experiencing, where it's the worst it's been. So we gave her the information. We've shared you with that information, that what can happen and what you can use, and best to you and your flower gardening. So, with that being said, Holly, we are out of time, and we thank you for yours. Miss any portion of the program today or would like to revisit it, you can certainly do that by going to our parent website, which is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and searching for the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show, or under the Season 7 tab at the top of the page, or you can send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we will send you a link to the program. Tune in next week to the program where we will be discussing themed gardens, which means, or give a little highlight on what that means. We're naming our gardens now. What?
You could name your garden.
Okay.
You can name anything. I could name my microphone here.
Oh, okay.
His name is Bert.
Okay. We're talking.
Themed gardens could be a garden that has a theme, whether it be like a certain color palette. Maybe it's beneficial to nature in some way. Maybe it's space saving, a themed garden.
Okay.
Yeah.
As well as chores to do in the month of October in your garden. And our guest is garden blogger and online influencer April Ruiz, and we'll answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joey Baird, and we will see you in the garden.